Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Cat Chat Live. My name is Nancy Stevens, and I am excited for today's discussion of K Week and all the ways that your Wildcat can get involved on campus. In just a few moments, you're going to get to meet some of my colleagues from the Office of Student Organizations and Activities. They and their team are hard at work getting all of the finishing touches put together for a really special K week for our incoming Wildcats, and I'm excited for you to learn more about what they have planned, knowing that K week is also just the start of an entire year full of opportunities for your students. As we're getting underway today, I always like to stop and do a little bit of housekeeping, especially for those of you who have not been on a Cat Chat Live webinar already as part of this summer series. First of all, we have some slides that we want to share with you. Again, student organizations and activities put some things together for you. And so we'll hold the designated Q&A period at the end of those slides. So if you wouldn't mind holding your questions, um, that would be great. We'll take those questions until the end of the time together today. Just give me a second, and I am getting our slides pulled up. All right, so we will take your questions during the designated Q&A period. And if you're not able to stay for the entirety of today's webinar, that is totally okay. We will be recording this and posting it in the Cat Chat family community later on. If you have questions at any point, you can email parents@uky.edu and get assistance from the Parent and Family Engagement team. We always like to see your feedback about our webinar series. And so after today's webinar is over, you'll see a link asking you to take just a couple of minutes and share your feedback about everything that you learned today and what remaining questions you have about your students' UK experience. We do have more Cat Chat Live webinars coming your way as part of our summer series. You'll see in just a second on the screen what we have coming your way. We know that a lot of folks have had questions about paying the bill, viewing their students' bill, and so Wednesday we'll be joined by the Offices of Student Financial Aid and Scholarships, Student Account Services, and Financial Wellness, and they'll be taking your questions live. So that's going to be one that I suspect many of you are going to want to tune in for. A week from today, we've got what I consider maybe a hidden gem in our Cat Chat Live series. My colleagues in the Office of Student Conduct have a great presentation about college conflicts and family superpowers. We got a lot of great feedback about this webinar after we presented it last year, where folks were saying that they weren't necessarily thinking about this topic, wasn't really on their radar, but that the presenters gave them some really good food for thought as they support their student in navigating peer relationships on campus, whether that's roommates, classmates, friends, romantic partners, and so on. Then you'll see we have two more to come after that. One is a discussion and some great academic tips from one of UK's integrated success coaches. And then something that we've recently added to the summer series is really as we kind of switch gears and head into the fall semester. On the first day of classes, we'll have a conversation with Vice President for Student Success, Kirsten Turner. So I would encourage you to visit the Cat Chat family community to see registration links for all of those remaining webinars. And if you're not able to join us live, no need to use those registration links. You'll just go into the Cat Chat family community to view the recordings after the fact. I'd be remiss if I didn't put in one additional plug for the Cat Chat family community as your go-to source of information for all the things that the university wants parents and families of our students to know. So make sure you're taking full advantage of that. All right, those are my housekeeping items. And now I want to turn things over to my wonderful colleagues in the Office of Student Organizations and Activities. They are so much fun and do such tremendous work in supporting students in this really important area of campus life. So I'll start by turning things over to Libby to take it away. Thanks so much for being here with us today.
Yes, we're so excited to talk to everybody. Thank you so much, Nancy. Want to take a second to introduce myself as well as my colleagues who are here with me today to speak to you about what is going on with involvement on University of Kentucky's campus, as well as our K Week, our orientation week for students coming up. My name is Libby Langloy. I'm the director for the Office of Student Orgs and Activities and excited to be with you all today. I will move over to Justice because she is the next person on my screen.
Hi, everyone. My name is Justice Berta. I'm a senior specialist in the Office of Student Organizations and Activities and excited to talk about K Week and K Teams with you all today.
Arnie and Charles.
Hello, everyone. I am Charles Delp. I'm the Associate Director for Major Campus Programming. Excited to talk with you all today about orgs and activities in K Week.
There we go. Alrighty, so to let you all know a little bit about the Office of Student Orgs and Activities, I will say it is very nice because it's a very direct name. We consider ourselves that hub for involvement on campus for students. So we support all of our 700 plus student organizations that are active on campus, as well as a lot of those high level activities such as our orientation week, our homecoming week. We also have events like Labor Day, where we do a lot of programming over the Labor Day weekend for students as they stay on campus. But we also support all of those registered student organizations. So, just to give you an idea, there's about 8,000 events that occur on campus each year. So, lots of ways for our students to get involved here. And you may be asking yourself, what is involvement? And so, one of the big pieces we like for our parents as well as our students to know is that involvement looks different for every student on campus. It's an individual experience that they get to curate, and we have a lot of resources to support them as they do just that and step onto campus to be a University of Kentucky student, and most importantly, a Wildcat. So that looks like being the president of an organization. It also could be internships that they might be interested in. We are a Research One school, so a lot of undergraduate research opportunities for our students. It also can be as simple as those students attending events and making connections with other students who are going to those. And again, going back to the idea of even those on campus jobs. So we've got our campus recreation team has a lot of student employees, and there's opportunities for them to teach classes and do things like that. But these are just some of the ways that students can get involved on campus and start making our campus feel a little bit more like their home. One of the big things that we also say up here too is that what our students are getting out of involvement is the ability to enhance those skills while they're here, develop relationships with both students and staff members as they get connected, as well as just gain those fun experiences throughout their 4 years on campus so that they can be successful while they're here as well as when they start to graduate, which I know is a long way away, but 4 years goes pretty fast. So the reasons we think it's again important for them to get involved, it's a great opportunity thinking about some of those skill sets that students need as they do graduate or do look for those internships while they're here on campus. A lot of those communication skills are grown, delegation, organization. It's a really great way for our students to practice what they're learning inside of the classroom, outside of the classroom. It's also a great opportunity for our students to build relationships with over 700 organizations. There's a lot of opportunity for our students to meet people. And of course, something that we know is that as our students continue to get connected, one, they're more successful while they're here, but they're also more successful in landing those job opportunities, as well as, again, getting to practice those skills outside of the classroom and be able to speak to all of the things that they're learning while they're here on campus. Again, we've also got those unique experiences. There are so many ways for our students to get involved. Charles would talk about it a little bit more and give you an idea of what some of those experiences can look like through some of our major campus student organizations like our Student Government Association, Student Activities Board, etc. But we've even got groups like our alternative service breaks where students are interested in even community service and other ways to get involved with the Lexington community and beyond. They can do so right here. So we've got a lot of opportunity from them. What we want you to take away from the last few slides is if you remember anything, it's the Student Orgs and Activities team and what I'm about to tell you as well. So our Student Orgs and Activities office is located within our Dean of Students area within our Student Success broader office. And we are excited to unveil this framework that we would love for students and parents to be able to speak to with their students over the course of their first 8 weeks on campus. So the first 8 weeks are very important to a student's time on campus. It's that time where students are trying to figure out who they're going to be connected with, where they're going to stay in between classes, and all of the pathways that they have to explore while they're here. And so if you're talking to your student, go ahead and start asking them about how they're connecting both with their staff, faculty, as well as their peers, the places that they may want to hang out in between classes on campus, and of course, all of those resources that we have. And so, the Office of Student Orgs and Activities is a great pathway for students to get involved again with those student organizations on campus. But these are the 3 Ps. And what we want students to do is pick one each week during their first 8 weeks to focus on. So maybe one week they're focusing on connections with their peers in the classroom. And it's as simple as them turning to the side and saying, "Hey, what's your major?" So you, as a parent, may ask your student, "Who have you connected with this week? Did you check or did you ask somebody what their major was? Did you stop into your faculty members' office hours or connect with a staff member and ask them maybe what their favorite part of campus is?" For places, we love to point out our Willie T. Young Library. The William T. Young Library is a great space on campus. I wasn't a tour guide. I did go to the University of Kentucky. Wasn't a tour guide, but I do know, I think we have over 1 million books in that place. So lots of exploring for students to do there. But we also have lots of different places, including the Gatton Student Center, and other great buildings on campus for students, both to hang out in, but also get connected with their peers. So things like the study, which is a great space for students to go if they want some additional support and some peer tutoring for some of the classes that they may have. But it's another great option to ask your student, "Hey, what places have you checked out on campus? Is there anywhere new that you have found this week in a new space that maybe feels like yours that you could go study in between classes and things like that?" And then some great questions for pathways is, what are they doing to get involved? Have they sought any resources? How are they doing holistically? And maybe the university has something for them. I bet you that we do. And if one of those questions ends up being, what organizations are you getting involved with? Charles is going to start talking about all of our major organizations on campus and let you know a little bit more about them and how they can support your student on campus.
All right, so moving into this, we actually have 700 plus registered student organizations on campus. That is a seven, not a one. So we have 700 student organizations, and I'm going to talk to you a bit about what four of them do for our major fee-funded organizations. Moving into the Student Activities Board first. This is a huge event on campus. This is our ping pong ball drop that occurs. So SAB, otherwise known as the Student Activities Board, is a board of student leaders who program throughout the year. They typically have about 40 to 50 events that they get feedback from their peers, from others on campus of things that they want to see. We always love about SAB that none of their calendars are ever exactly the same. So you have different events occurring at all times, catering to the student body. This event in particular is one where they drop thousands of ping pong balls off of Patterson Office Tower, and about 20 or so of those balls are numbered, and if you catch a ball with a number, you get a prize. And you can see people bring boxes, umbrellas, all kinds of fun stuff to try to catch those in order to win a prize. Next up, we have SGA. So SGA, as on many campuses, is meant to represent and empower and really serve the student body. They have a lot of different groups by which they do that. They have a senate, they have officers that are elected each year, and you can see here, this is actually an event that SGA partnered with SAB on in the past, and so they're always reaching out to students. They typically get lots of feedback as well, and so this event was called Wildcat Market, and they got feedback from the student body that we needed more representation from the local community in terms of like food options and healthy eating and things like that. And so they worked with SAB to bring a fresh produce event to campus. Students got a certain allotment of money, and they got free produce for their halls and homes. Next, we've got WRFL. This is actually an on-campus radio station that has existed since 1988, again, at the request of student leaders who advocated for its existence. And so this is a 24-hour radio station that is available On typical FM frequencies, there are student and community DJs. And so if you are a student leader and you love this kind of thing, maybe you have a major that aligns with this, or it's just in your interest, in your wheelhouse of what you want to do, students become DJ trained. They learn how to use all of this equipment. They can host a show live on the air and have guests and all these kinds of things. And WRFL also programs to the student body to make sure that they know who they are and what they're doing and where you can find them. And last but not least, we have Dance Blue for our major fee-funded student organizations. And so this is an organization that actually raises money for pediatric oncology and hematology research through Golisano Children's at UK. You can see here, this is a culminating shot of the Dance Blue 24-hour marathon that happens at the end of the year. So there is a 24-hour no sit, no sleep marathon that student leaders and students at UK run, and they raise money for that research. They raised $2.4 million in this last year, and they have raised over $27 million, almost 28, for this purpose throughout the year. They program all throughout the year to raise that money and work with campus for research.
Thank you, Charles. I'm going to share some resources that we have for supporting involvement on campus. Starting off with BB Involved, this is a resource that students can go ahead and start checking out. We like to call this the digital hub or the Google for finding student organizations and events on campus. You can search by key terms, themes, all kinds of things. This screen is showing you our events tab. So like Libby mentioned earlier, there are over 8,000 events each year. If you were to go on BB Involved right now, you'll see a lot of our K-Week events that are coming up that we'll start talking about in the next few slides. But some of our student organizations are already well ahead in planning their events for the semester. So you can start checking out those as well. And then organization. So Charles mentioned the 700 and a few of our sponsored major fee-funded orgs. This is another way that students can look to see if there's organizations that they may be interested in joining. You can search by categories, everything from leadership, Greek life, fraternity and sorority life, service, all kinds of things, as well as different opportunities to get involved. And then we also have service opportunities. Service opportunities similar to our events and organizations. You can search for time commitments, different opportunities that are within the Lexington area, and then also sign up just through BB Involved. That'll take you to our Give Pulse. Another resource that we want to highlight is our involvement advising. Our involvement advisors are students themselves who we consider involvement pros and are available to talk to students who are interested in getting involved and maybe are looking for some additional support in finding an organization that maybe aligns with their interest or previous hobbies, high school abilities, or events that they may be interested in and don't know where to start since we do have so many. One of the ways that you can share this resource with your students is sharing the involvement advising request form. This is something that is on BB Involve, so students can go to BB Involve, search for involvement advising, and this form will pull up. They can fill out some initial information, things that they're interested in, their name, link blue, and then they can get scheduled with an involvement advisor. And what's really cool about this is that they can schedule kind of the modality of that appointment. It can be on the phone, it can be virtual, or it could be in person. And then also we have our involvement advisors attend events. So I know probably as an incoming student, I was nervous about showing up to an event with 50 people that I didn't know. Our involvement advisors also attend some of those events, and students can attend them with our involvement advisors. And then those involvement advisors help them connect and talk to other students to have fun at those events.
All right, thanks, Justice. And now we're going to go into some additional ways to connect with SOA on campus. So one of the big ways that students can connect with us, especially if there is a registered student organization, is we have what is called the Center for Student Involvement. And so in one of the main buildings on campus, the Gatton Student Center, you have the Center for Student Involvement. It's a large hallway that different student organizations can use in a lot of different ways. There are rotating organization spaces that happen up here. And so basically, if an organization wants to, they can go through an application process and apply for a permanent office throughout the year. These are last year's organizations that were selected, and this is a really coveted, very cool thing that rotating orgs get to do. But even outside of that, this is where our involvement advisors are located. We do lots of workshops throughout the year, different strengths workshops, and there are permanent offices as well for all of the major groups that I mentioned, like Dance Blue, Student Activities Board, Student Government, and WRFL. So outside of that, we've also got other ways that you can get involved with SOA. Club sports is a big one. We manage club sports throughout our office. We get lots of questions about that. We do different workshops throughout the year, and you will see on our next upcoming slide, we actually have a lot of different programming options. We typically program all throughout the fall and spring semesters, and so we distribute this as a magnet. You'll see at our K-Week events coming up. But we have all kinds of different things that are regularly occurring for students. And so we have lots of movies on Fridays, for example. We have our SOA Cinema series where we actually just get movies that were in theaters a couple of weeks or months ago. So students who don't want to go to theaters can see it with their friends here on campus. We have Trivia Tuesdays that happen. We have bingos that happen. And Libby also mentioned some of the larger events like K-Week, Labor Day, and Homecoming that occur as well that are sprinkled all throughout here, color coded for students to see. And we also do want to highlight the involvement fair. So you'll hear about Campus Ruckus for K-Week, but if students are looking for ways to get involved, maybe miss the first round of things, we have the involvement fair that happens early on in the semester, October, so that students who are wanting to get involved and connected with their peers have a way to do that after even the first few weeks of classes as well.
And Charles, I think that's a great plug too for any parent that's in the room. Another great option for asking your student about what's going on. As you can see, there's always something going on, which is actually our Student Activities Board motto. So if your student is telling you that they are not sure what's up around campus, heading over to BB Involved, checking out all these events that are coming up is a great way for our students to start getting involved. And of course, as you can tell through movies and some other options for programming, lots of different types of programs so that students can engage as they wish and feel the most comfortable. One of the big ones that we want to talk about is K-Week. K-Week is our orientation week for students. I'm sure most folks have heard about it at this point, but this will happen. It's Wednesday, August 19th through Sunday, August 23rd. So right after that move-in time, we've got a few days with the students to orient them to campus and want to give you a little bit more information about the purpose of K-Week so that, again, you can talk to your students about some of that. Of course, thinking about that transition into college life, we know that it can be overwhelming for students as they step onto a campus of over 35,000 students. They aren't just a number to us, and we want everybody to know that they are students, and we want to help them get involved and be successful as they make that transition to campus. And so K-Week's going to help them get acquainted with the landscape of campus. We've got all these signature programs that Charles will come up and talk about in just a few, but they are placed in different locations on purpose to be able to support students in understanding what buildings are where, how will they navigate, how long does it take me to get from North Campus to South Campus or vice versa if I'm heading to classes. But it's also an opportunity for them to meet faculty and staff in their academic programs, so they will have college meetings as well. That'll help orient them to their college while also supporting them in making some of those connections too. So they'll get an opportunity to make friends in their colleges, friends in their residence halls. We have great options for them through their K-Team assignments. K-Teams is where we take all of the students that are incoming and each of them get matched up to one of our K-Team leaders. So we have about 200 plus K-Team leaders that support our orientation week and your student in transitioning into campus life. It's a great option for students to ask about their academic programs, how they navigated the first few weeks of campus. But again, they'll also help them both get to events as well as support them in connecting with their peers that week as well. It's also, as Charles talked, an opportunity for our students to connect with registered and sponsored student organizations as well as campus resources. So a lot of the events that we'll talk about as we go through the rest of the presentation, you'll hear what it is that students will be able to connect with during that event. Again, whether it be a college meeting, whether it be a department that supports them through resources, and or even at like our Campus Ruckus tabling, which is a great opportunity for our students to learn about 200 plus organizations on campus face to face. There's also some options for the students to learn about UK tradition. So we have, I think Nancy's photo actually behind her is our class photo. So all of our students get to go into our football stadium, which is a great opportunity to see it without everybody there. And it's just all of our incoming students, the band, our athletic teams, and a few other people excited to welcome them in, but also to teach them the tradition of sitting in the student section and getting involved in those football games as well as those basketball games as well. So, I want to make sure we're introducing them to those. And then, of course, building that foundation for the fall semester. So, again, taking us back to those three P's, there's opportunities for students to connect to their peers as well as staff members. There's opportunities for our students to find the places that make them feel like they're home again in between classes or just on campus in some of those evening times or morning times, whatever students, if they like to work out in the morning, maybe their place is the campus recreation gym. But then it also connects them to those pathways. So all of the resources that'll be available to them to support them as they navigate campus throughout the semester. And Justice is going to tell us this is a lot going on, but there's a lot of payoff at the end of it too.
Yeah, there are many benefits to attending K Week, and we've pulled just a few. All students who participate in K Week do receive a survey that asks them about their experience of K Week. And over the years, we've looked at the data, and one of the main things that we do see is that students say they do make new friends. That can feel like a lot, though, to do in one week to say that I have made my friends, I know who my people are. What we would like to reframe that as, and what we would encourage you all to reframe it as, is that you make at least one connection. You have attempted to, connect with somebody on your K team, maybe somebody in your hall. You've met a staff member that you know you could probably go to in the upcoming year, because we all know that friendships start with connection, and sometimes it just takes time to then level up to that friendship. 95% of our students said that they learned how to get involved, which is always great to hear. We're going to go through some of these events, but there's a lot of information they get about the multitude of ways they can get involved, whether that is with our student organizations, going to campus wellness, things like the gym, and other opportunities on campus. Students also say that because of K Week, they do start to feel like UK is their home, even from just walking around campus, getting familiarity with where these buildings are, where they're going to be hanging out between classes, where they're going to be getting their lunches and dinners. They really start to get an idea of what their schedule and what their day-to-day is going to look like in making UK their home. They also do say that they find community. So community is not just your peers, but it's also things like staff, faculty, spaces on campus that you feel most comfortable and you feel like you can just thrive in. And then, of course, also identifying campus resources. There will be opportunities at our department Pick Your Path Day that is on Friday of K Week for students to engage with a multitude of resources to get them introduced to some of those that they can use throughout the year, and also information of how to follow up.
Okay, and now I'm going to hit some highlights from the K-Week programming schedule. I will say that this is not the entire schedule. This is just some of our signature programming that we'll go through. And as Libby and Justice mentioned, we've been very intentional about how to curate the belonging of K-Week. And so making sure each day has a specific purpose and making sure students get connected to campus. First up, we have got Wildcat Fest. This is a brand new event that we're doing this year. We're very excited about it. So on Wednesday the 19th from 7:30 to 10:30, this is a large-scale outdoor block party that's happening on Avenue of Champions, if you're familiar with campus, right outside the Gatton Student Center. And this is the way that students are going to connect with resources on campus. So all of our departments from student success that provide a lot of those resources for students are going to be there with an interactive game or tabling activity so students can get to know them, the people behind those services, and feel connected to campus right away. And in addition to all of those resources being right there at their fingertips, again, this is a block party. So a very fun event happening outside. We'll have food trucks, about 10 different food trucks. We'll have carnival rides and games. There will be a Ferris wheel at this event, and like large swings and slides, all kinds of fun stuff, yard games, and we will also have live music as well and lots of entertainment for students to get connected with their peers as well as resources. And then we move into the family launch. Very excited about this one. And I know Kate and Nancy are both on here if you want to pop in and add anything about this, but we're very excited about the launch party this year.
Yeah, so we are excited to welcome parents and families to our family launch party. So while your student is out enjoying the K-Week event, we're going to welcome you over to K-Lair, which is located in Hagen Hall, and we'll have some live music. And it's really an opportunity for you to kind of meet and greet, to know other parents and families, get any questions you may have answered, and just have a great time to relax after a move-in. So again, if you're still in town, please swing on by. We're happy to see you.
Thanks, Kate. And next up, we have Campus Ruckus. This is a huge tradition on our campus. We will have about 200 different registered student organizations and sponsored student organizations tabling at Campus Ruckus. And so, what this looks like, it takes place on Alumni Commons on campus, and there are, again, tables of all kinds of different student organizations. We will have staff there able to help students find them. So, if your student is looking for a specific organization, or even if they don't know of a specific organization, we can help them, talk about their interest, who to get connected with, what a good table would be to talk through. All of these 200 different tables, they have activities and games going on, very carnival style, very fun. We always get really good feedback about Campus Ruckus that students love this event. And then if you need a break, in between talking to people at the tables, there's lots of different snacks going on. There's different inflatables too, music, DJs, all kinds of fun stuff going on at Campus Ruckus. And two other things I want to highlight about Ruckus that are a lot of fun. There is a Campus Ruckus t-shirt. It is a very coveted item that gets given out at Campus Ruckus with a different design each year. Students love the Campus Ruckus t-shirt. And near the end of the event each year, there is a drone show. So we've done different things throughout the past. We've done fireworks before. We get feedback from students that the drone show is the thing they love about Campus Ruckus. And so we have about 200 drones go up in the sky, do a light show to end the night, and do a really fun recap of Campus Ruckus. Okay, Friday, we've got Big Blue U. This is where students are getting connected to those traditions on campus. So this is one that Libby mentioned. We do this in Kroger Field. Students funnel in. They actually sit in the student section, so where they would be during a normal football game. So Friday at 7 o'clock, they'll go up there. You can see them in the stands. They have different coaches and cheer and dance that come out, and they really just go through what it's like to be a Wildcat and learn those cheers. They teach them to the students. We have coaches that come out and go through those things. And at the end of it, there's two different things that occur. One, you will see there's cans of Coke and Sprite in their hands. There is a Coke toast. So after they've learned all these cool traditions on campus, there is a Coke toast that happens that everyone is a part of. It's a very cool moment to be a Wildcat. And then they do, as Libby mentioned, transition onto the field, and they're in their KB t-shirts that they have received, and they take a class photo in the shape of Kentucky. I think Libby, mentioned the fact that Nancy's background is this photo. So we put cones out in the shape of Kentucky. It's very cool. The students funnel in there and they get a picture in the shape of Kentucky that happens at the end of Big Blue U, which is very, very cool for them to have in retrospect. Saturday, we have Wildcat Welcome. This is a new event that's happening as a part of K Week this year. And so it's all about wellness resources. So you can see kind of how each day has a specific theme and, vibe that we're wanting students to get out of those resources. This is taking place again on Avenue of Champions, but it's focusing on the wellness resources and stuff that are available in Alumni Gym, through Campus Rec, Power, and student well-being as a whole. And so students who maybe don't always associate with some of our other events love this event, and it's a great way to get connected on campus as well. And after everything that's occurred all throughout the week for K Week, we typically get feedback that students have been, very, very busy. They've made lots of connections on campus. It's very fun. Now they need a place to chill with their connections and their friends that they've made throughout this entire week. And so we end the week of K Week with Chill and Grill. It's an outdoor movie that occurs and a barbecue. And so it's a very low key event, very, very relaxing. We'll have different academic resources there since, the start of classes is the very next day. We get lots of feedback from students that this is just the right thing to end K Week and give them a chance to actually meet with those connections that they have been gathering throughout the week. And this year we will be showing Project Hail Mary if we have any fans of that movie.
And for K-team assignments, I think Libby mentioned earlier, our K-teams are groups of incoming students that are led by a K-team leader, which is a current returning student at the University of Kentucky. And those K-team leaders kind of serve as like a peer guide throughout the week. They send them message, they take them to the events, and they're a great resource for our incoming students to get an idea of what does it look like now that I'm actually here at the university, of what my day-to-day is going to be as a college student. So our K teams are assigned based off of residence hall, but if your student is commuting or living off campus, they will also be assigned to a K team, and they'll get some specific instructions of how they'll get introduced to their K team leader. We are hoping to send out our email communication about their K team assignment on Monday, August 17th. So it'll be that Monday right before K week kicks off. And this year we're really excited because we are going to be using Band, which is a communication app. If your student is living in a residence hall, they probably have heard a little bit of information about Band, and we wanted to align our K-Week communication with Residence Life. So if they've already got Band downloaded, they'll be using the same thing for their K-Team stuff. Some physical resources that we do have, and this is a good resource to share with your students. We'll have an HQ table that is in our Gatton Student Center. This is a good like central hub that if they have a question about K-Week, if they don't get a chance to pick up their t-shirt at that first event, this would be a good place to point them to. And we typically will also have some information about other resources as well. Of course, our K-teams are a great physical resource. They will be meeting up with their K-team leader every day to go to that signature event. And then a continuing resource is the Office of Student Organizations and Activities. So we're not just here for K-Week, we are here all year long to provide resources and opportunities for your students to get involved and engaged on campus. And some of the digital resources that we have. So we've got our UK Guides app. If you did come to a BB&O, you probably used the Guides app. We will also be using that for K-Week. This is a great resource for students to find all of the events that are happening. So not just our signature events that we talked about, but also events like our department Pick Your Paths, and also the events that our student organizations are doing on that Saturday and Sunday to welcome our incoming class. We also have the Safe Zone app. This would be a good app for students to go ahead and download and that they'll continue to use throughout the year. It's our safety app. BB Involved that we talked about earlier. This is not an app, but it is a website, and probably would encourage them to go ahead and bookmark it because they'll use it pretty frequently to look for events and organizations. And one thing they can go ahead and download from BB Involved is their Event Pass. This is a unique QR code that they'll use to check in, and they'll get some more information about this from their K-team leaders. Our K-team band, like I mentioned, we're moving to Band for our communication. So this is an app. If you're living in a residence hall, you probably got information about this, but we'll also be sending out some information on how to download that. And then, of course, our K-Week Instagram. This is something that families, parents, and students can interact with. We've been posting some Know Before You Go graphics, so to get a little information and create some excitement about our events coming up, but also a good way to look for some pictures and some highlights of what's going on during K-Week.
That's right. Thanks, Justice. And we've given a lot of information about K-Week. Of course, all the information for K-Week will go up there, but also wanted to showcase that we do have a social media account for just our office. It's called @UK Get Involved. Would love to see you all follow as well as your students and encourage them to know about all of the resources that we've talked through. Again, it was quite a bit, but we're excited that you all were here with us to navigate some of those. And again, the biggest thing that we want everybody to walk away with is that you have chosen the best place for your student. The University of Kentucky has so many resources available to them in order to support them in being successful. And again, when you think about life outside of the classroom and what students are getting involved with, go ahead and ask them about those 3 Ps, the people, places, and pathways that they are navigating in order to get connected on campus. If y'all ever need anything or have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. But I think it's that time of the presentation to ask for any questions, Nancy. I'm not sure if we got any, but I'll stop sharing in the meantime.
Yep. While you all were talking about K-Week and making it sound so much fun, I think the families maybe are going to be jealous that all of this is going on for the students. So that's why the launch party is for them. But the first question that came in while Charles was talking about K-Week asked about Wildcat Fest and if everything was free, the food truck, the carnival rides, and all of that.
Yes, Wildcat Fest is free. The t-shirts, the food trucks, the rides. Um, yeah, it's all free. We pay for that. Some of it's first come, first serve. We don't guarantee everyone will get one of everything, but there is plenty there for everybody. Yes.
Yep, and I know when I talk to families at orientations, I remind them of the saying on campus about how if you pay for things during K Week, you have done it wrong. There's going to
That's
be
right.
free things everywhere.
That's right. Another great question, Nancy, to that might be how many t-shirts have you racked up through K Week? So good question for your students because there's lots of things given out during that week.
All right, so Brandy's asking, do students really want parents there on Wednesday night? So I think that's a great time to offer this distinction between what's going on for K Week for students and then with the family launch party. So I don't know if Kate wants to jump in first to talk about the family launch party or if you all want to talk about Wildcat Fest and whether we would hope to see parents and families there or
I think
not.
they start at the same time, right, Kate? Just about. So as everybody says goodbye, would love to see
Mhm.
students with those K teams as students or as families head over to that launch party.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. They do overlap a little bit there. But yeah, just to kind of have, I know you're moving in, and if parents, if you're still in town, it's, that's a big moment for your family, and your student is going off to make memories and meet new folks. So, our family launch party is an opportunity for you as parents and families to kind of meet some other parents of your own. So really, it's up to you if you want to come by. But yeah, it will be at that same time though.
Mhm. And we do encourage the students to be able to navigate that event with their K team specifically. To Kate's point, this is that first kind of launch for the students to start making their own, what we call, somebody said this the other day, and I agree, their Wildcat pause. It's time for them to put their Wildcat pause down and start creating their own journey on campus. And so, do suggest that students come to that with their K teams so that they can start again connecting with resources. And again, so that you all know, as parents and families and friends of the students who are here, again, those questions and being able to support on that back end are really invaluable to our students. Just asking them about how the events are going and connecting with them, it's really supportive of them. And as they navigate those next few events, again, with their K team leaders and their K teams, but also as they start to navigate campus in those first 8 weeks, this is a perfect time. We have really thought about all of those barriers and have so many people there to engage with students. So there's no way they won't leave K Week without talking to somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next question that came in says, if your student is a BCTC student planning to transfer to UK next year, can they attend K Week?
We would love to have any of our transfer students attend. Typically, that is once they do transfer over as a student. And if they need any resources in between now and then, they can always reach out to our office. It's k-week@uky.edu. Would love to answer any specific questions with those students as we can.
Yeah, I met a transfer student last week at a student send-off event, and one of the things I made sure to tell him was that K Week was for him too. And
Right.
he said, "Oh, I had no idea." And so I was telling him about the transfer tie-dye event and
Mhm.
the college meeting and things like that. So yeah, it's not just for our first-time freshmen; it's for transfers too.
Yep. All incoming students. That's a good point, Nancy, too, especially for our graduate students as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure we have folks who are typing questions right now, so I would love to hear you all, in this theme of kind of who K Week's for and how do we get students to take full advantage of all that's going on for our students who aren't living in the university residence halls. Obviously, we have the off-campus K teams, but what other tips do you have for them in terms of starting to navigate campus and find their place here?
Of course. Justice, do you want to talk about how off-campus students can connect with their K team leaders?
Yeah, we last year we hosted an commuter student welcome. So right before they head to the first signature event, this year will be Wildcat Fest. They will have an opportunity to meet up with other commuting students here in the Student Center and then be connected directly to their K team leader. And then from there, their K team leader is going to pick up the rest of their students at a hall across the street and then take them to the event. And we like to do this that way. Our students who are commuting to campus get to meet up with some students who also have that same experience, but also get to meet students who are doing the residential experience. That has been really successful, especially for our students who are coming to campus for the first time. Having a central location to first initially meet their K team leader has been really helpful. And then from there, their K team leader always provides really specific instructions on where they'll be meeting throughout the rest of the week so that they always know where to go and have somebody to go to an event with.
Yeah. And as far as the rest of the week's concerned too, I think some of those tips and tricks, especially for our students who are commuting to campus, thinking about some of those parking locations. So in the same way that a lot of our students who are having the residential experience are probably walking to and from classes just to check out where those buildings are, it's always a great idea, especially during that first week. I will say with K Week, there's a lot of free parking opportunities and different things like that so that students can kind of figure out how they're going to navigate all of the different classes and buildings that they may have to traverse to. Of course, there's some really great resources in our parking and transportation team. There's actually even someone that our students who are commuting to campus can meet with and talk to about where it might be best for them to park. Are there any buses that are close to the locations in which they live, etc.? So I think in the same vein as what we've been talking about, Nancy, if you have a student or you know of a student who's coming to the university and is going to be commuting to classes, it's a great opportunity to ask a lot of those questions of have they navigated some of those resources. I think that's actually maybe one of the trickiest things is it's probably likely that we have a resource for just about everything. And I think the wonderful thing about our Office for Student Success as a whole is if you connect with any one of our staff members, whether it be myself, Justice, Charles, I mean, even Nancy or Kate, we'll all make sure to get our students pointed in the right direction. So I think if all else, if you come down to it and you don't know what question to ask if they've connected with the Office for Student Success. And from there, it's likely that we'll get them connected to the right people so that they can be successful as they come to campus. And of course, I think the other big thing to ask for the students is just and to encourage them really is to encourage them to go do that. I think sometimes it can be really scary to talk to adults in the room. And I think what we tell our students is our job is literally you. We wouldn't have a job without you. And we're out here waiting for a student to pop in so that we can support them while also creating all of those opportunities for them to engage in on their own as they wish. So I think those are some good tips and tricks. Take a look out at that parking information. Definitely check out our parking and transportation website. I think that commuting resource is under one of their services or resources page that they can meet with somebody to talk through what might be the best way for them to get to campus. I'll also plug our Student Government Association does have parking vouchers, and those do go pretty quick. So if students are looking for any parking vouchers, there's some stuff there through Student Government Association as well. But really that encouragement too.
All right. Our next open question is from Kathleen. She said, is there a separate Kentucky freshman kickoff event that needs a ticket to attend? I feel like this is a question that we've gotten earlier in the summer too from some sort of outside entity that is making it seem like they're connected with UK. Have you all heard about this as well?
Yeah, I think if you're having your student get connected with K-Week, much to what Charles was saying, K-Week is a free opportunity for all of our students. There's no time in which we'll request them to register for anything or turn over money or a credit card information. We have planned all of this for our incoming students. So would really ask and also tell you all to encourage your students to take advantage of all of those free opportunities. As Charles was saying, there's more than just our signature events. All the events affiliated with the University of Kentucky will be found on that UK Guides app. So really suggest to get the students to download that. And I think that's also something you all can take a look at too. But one big thing there, all of our students that get those iPads as freshmen, which is such a great opportunity for them, that UK Guides app is actually already downloaded on the iPad for them to be able to look at too. It's also not hard to navigate in the App Store. You just search UK Guides and it comes right up. It's blue and white, so you can't miss it. But all of the opportunities affiliated with the University of Kentucky, I believe there's about 165 events over the course of the 4 or 5 days we have them for K Week. So I'd suggest to keep them around campus at those free events. We love the community, and there will be lots of opportunity for our students to connect to the greater Lexington community. But as they transition into campus, we would love for them to continue to take advantage of the ones that will be on campus and also hosted by our departments, registered student organizations, etc. As we know that all of those events will support our students in getting to those outcomes that we're looking for K Week and help them be successful in those first 8 weeks.
All right, Jennifer's question says, you have an abundance of resources. That's amazing, but it almost seems overwhelming. Is there a place students can type in, who do I contact for? Which is a great time for us to plug the Find Services website on the Office for Student Success page. Kate will put that in the chat for us. But yes, we know that having so many resources can feel a little overwhelming. And so we do our best to help break that down into chunks for students. That's what their Countdown to Kentucky emails have been doing. That's what the Wildcat Rundown weekly email will do once the semester starts. Every Monday afternoon, they'll get a Wildcat Rundown email that lets them know some of the major things going on that week. We plant, hints about resources that we know students need at different times of the year. So yes, we understand that the abundance of resources can feel overwhelming, and I think you all do a great job during K Week of starting to introduce students to some of those resources that maybe they saw when they were at orientation, and here they'll see again. Sometimes that repeated exposure can be really good.
That's right. Yeah, and Nancy, I love that website. I even use it as a staff member every once in a while too. So that services website's super helpful. And again, the other piece of that too, I feel like, is that we have people too. So all the people that the students will meet throughout K Week, they're really great opportunities and resources for students to connect with and ask some of those individualized questions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Any of us can help students navigate. Their advisor is going to be a wonderful resource. Google, trusty Google, I'm forever on UKY, whatever it is I'm trying to figure out. So,
Really?
yeah, we understand that sense. So this next question is not exactly about K Week or getting involved, but it does kind of, I think, because we were talking about the iPads come up. Do you also need a laptop to be successful? I think from what I've heard, and you all may have had these conversations with students as well. Sometimes it's personal preference. Sometimes it's based on what their major is. Certain majors and colleges are going to have more specific, software they need to be able to run. Some of the undergraduate colleges have very specific computing requirements. And again, part of it's just personal preference. I've known students who've navigated solely on their iPad and students who wanted to have both their iPad and some sort of other device that they can use. Do you all get similar feedback from students?
Yeah, and Justice and Charles, I don't know if you all have any, but I think a good tip there too is those college meeting days for the students during K Week is a great opportunity because I think, Nancy, to your point, it can just be really specific to each student. We have, I think some of our students with the iPads, you get a few of the accessories with it, like a keypad and the pen as well. And so there are students who have navigated all 4 years with the iPad, and that is great for them. And then some students who wanted a little bit more ability to have like an actual laptop for whatever reason. But I think the college meetings are a great opportunity for our students to connect and say what might be best for me too.
One of the other things I would love for you all to touch on briefly is Labor Day. I know that for some of our, farther away out of state families, their student wanting to come home for Labor Day weekend isn't on their radar. But for some of our families who are a little closer to Lexington, they may be thinking that they would love to see their student home for Labor Day, that their student may have already said, well, I'll come home and get that on Labor Day. I know that you all have thought of those considerations. And so for our planners who are watching right now, what can their student anticipate for Labor Day?
Yeah, Labor Day is a really, really great opportunity. It happens Friday, September 4th through Monday the 7th. And so typically what we find is that students who stick around through Labor Day tend to retain at better rates and be more successful at UK. Similar to K Week, we have a lot of stuff going on throughout that time period. So actually Labor Day starts off with a street fair, so another block party style event We have lots of campus partners who host events during this time. We'll have movies, bingos, and things like that, similar to K Week in our regular programming. But it's just really a good chance for students who have not yet found connections on campus or other people to be friends with to have another go at that. Libby, anything you would add?
No, I just think it's a great opportunity for students. We know that the longer a student stays on campus, and I think it's great for parents to know this as well, but the more successful they'll be because of what Charles is talking about with some of those connections. So, really do encourage you to have your students take full advantage. Again, these are free events for students that are hosted. It's also that first, I think, to Charles's point, first football game. So, definitely want to see the students starting to get in, kind of ingrained and start really getting into that UK culture. So they'll be able to learn all of those chants and things like that from Big Blue U over to Labor Day. And then, of course, engage in some of those events. And we do a lot of the same things where we think through the resources as well as connection points with other folks during that week. So, yeah, tell them to save the date and to stay on campus. We'd love to have them.
Yep, Kate's put the dates in the chat. I've already got the dates in the Cat Chat family community because we want this on families' radar as an opportunity for their students to be on campus and to make those important connections. All right, Stephanie's asking, do colleges reach out directly to the students so they know when to attend? So she's referring to those K-Week college meetings.
All the college meetings can be found in our K Week guide, that UK Guides app. So all of the individual information is there. But we do encourage colleges to reach out to students so they may get some additional information to those UKY emails, as well as those personal email addresses. I'm sure Nancy and team have said this multiple times, but there's a lot of information to go out to students. And I think to that question earlier, lots of information and resources for students. So we would love for them to stay up to date and make sure that they have access to those emails now. There's a lot of information that will go out and continue to go out there. But again, all of that will also be central in the UK Guides app for them. All they need to know is which college their major is in. If they have any questions, they can come see us at the HQ table. It's up in the Gatton Student Center on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. They can also email us. They can send us a message on Instagram. We're very reachable throughout that K week. So happy to support students in getting connected with those colleges if they are having some troubles.
All right, our next question says, my student has to come home game weekends. He has no place else to put his car. Any suggestions? My first suggestion is that families, if they haven't done so already, watch the Cat Chat Live that we did with Transportation Services because we did address where students can relocate their cars if their parking permit is for K-Lot. There is also really good information on the Transportation Services website about football vehicle relocation. And we find that students often move cars every weekend, regardless of whether there's a home football game or not. Over the weekends, almost all of the employee parking lots are available for anyone with a UK permit. And so students can move their cars often a lot closer to residence halls or to the places that they are visiting on campus. And so certainly there may be some home game weekends that students do choose to come home, but it's not something that they necessarily have to do. There's going to be convenient places for them to move their cars. Y'all, anything that I missed with that?
No,
Many
I
of
think
us are veterans of the K-Lot experience.
I was going to say, as somebody who did move my car quite a few times throughout my undergraduate career at the university, it is something that becomes a little bit second natured once you get used to it and students get used to it. I think to Nancy's point, making yourself familiar with that transportation services website is the best thing, and also feeling free to give those folks a call and say, where is it that I'm supposed to put this car? And they'll help you navigate as needed.
Yep, they have a really helpful transportation services email newsletter that I know they plugged when they did a Cat Chat Live with us earlier in the series. And one of the things that I think is helpful there is that they send reminder emails prior to home football games, reminding students, hey, it's almost time to move your car. Here's a link to the relocation map and so on. All right. Well, we have answered all of our open questions, and that has taken us right to 1 p.m. So we'll go ahead and wrap up. But Libby, Justice Charles, thank you so much for sharing all of this really great information about K-Week, about all of the opportunities for our students to get connected and to explore what involvement is going to look like for them here on campus. I know you are just three representatives of a really dedicated team of of staff and student leaders and so on. And so our thanks to you all for taking the time to put together this information and share it with the group. And please express the thanks of all of us to the rest of the team as well. Kate, as always, thanks for being not only behind the scenes, putting the links in the chat today, but on camera briefly today. We got Kate on camera, maybe for the first time this Cat Chat Live series, but I like it. We need to see more of Kate. Families, we hope this was helpful to you, and we hope to see you again soon for another Cat Chat Live. But until then, have a great rest of your day and go Cats. Thanks, everybody. Bye.